Looky-loos will sleep with you. Many have been interested in me only because they were curious. They go to bed with me once or twice, and I never hear from them again. They found out what they wanted to know. It's not all that hard. But they were so guilt-ridden about Jimmy, they can't continue. The other ones who didn't like me search for excitement with some other grown-up male. Those who feel guilty go back to messing around with boys. Somehow that's not bad. But to make up for the transgression with me by becoming monogamous and getting engaged. Relax. Accept being a curiosity. Don't feel indignant. She's just looking. You're an experiment in her life. That's how she learns. Be glad you could help. Okay? You're just a tourist trap. Hopefully you trap a lot of young tourists. Her motives for dating you. You're asking her to go against everything parents, boyfriends, church, society, and girlfriends have drilled into that pretty young head and heart of hers. Why will she do it? The prime element of her motivation is the desire to be seriously fucked the way she's heard it's supposed to be done. By now, you know her best experience does not measure up to what she's heard from other girls read in Cosmopolitan or seen in the movies, and for sure there's a stereotype of older men as knowledgeable, experienced lovers. She knows there must be more to it, but this is one of her darkest, most closely held secrets, slightly behind masturbating and feeling terribly lonely. She fantasizes what a real man would do with her. If she's a bit drunk, she talks to her closest girlfriend about what it should be like. She's not obsessed with sex, but wonders if she's missing something really important. So far, her boyfriends aren't much. He wants his cock sucked all the time. He's reluctant to give her head and has no idea her clit isn't a miniature dick if he even knows where it is. On his 20th try, he lasted 2 minutes after entering. She and her contemporaries know on some level there's more to it. Part of the attraction is your age. It makes you different, plain and simple. You're attracted to you because she's different from 38-year-old divorcees. How's that for an understatement? Also, in her view, your age qualifies you to participate with her in a forbidden romance. Turns on females of any age, forbidden romance. She wants to experience life. You have the knowledge and money to show her what she only has seen on TV or read about in people. Older lovers have a lot to offer, says Cosmo. One of her girlfriend's acquaintance has one, and she's ready to give it a try. I learned this lesson the hard way. When she dates a married man, she doesn't feel used. She knows what the score is. If she gets entangled, she only blames herself. She's heard society's preaching every day. When she dates a married man, she doesn't feel used. She knows what the score is. If she gets entangled, she only blames herself because she heard society's preaching against it every day of her life. When I say I learned that lesson the hard way, what I mean is when I was married and I was tired of being married, I started talking to young women at Bechtel. And I could only talk with them 6 months before I got anywhere with young women. And I was married and they all knew it. But they were going out with me because I was married. Now, these girls at Bechtel were like 25 to 28. They were young compared to me. I was 32, but I was actually 52 in my brain and in my heart. I lost all my youth somewhere. So there I was, 52-year-old mentality in a 30-year-old body, and I wanted some young stuff. So I started going out with these girls, and they wanted to fuck just as much as I did. And we would fuck all the time. Then when I got divorced, girls didn't want anything to do with me anymore because turns out I was safely married. That means I was a good fuck. And they weren't going to get romantically entangled to me because I was unavailable. I was just a good way to get off. I don't mind being used sexually. I don't mind being a sex object, but I didn't know what was happening. I thought when I got divorced, I was going to be able to do this all over again. No. It's a different world when you're single. You become possibly I could get entangled with him, so I'm not going to fuck with him. Here's a big warning in the middle of the page. Warning, she may want to shame and degrade her parents. This girl plays a game called the Goy ploy. She picks a male to infuriate and embarrass her parents. A Goy if she's Jewish, a Jew if her parents have found Jesus. Others to piss off mom and dad. Bikers, Mexicans, punk rockers, or an older man. You are paying attention, right? You could be being set up. She has to get caught with you so she can make a giant scene and rub her parents' nose in the whole sordid affair. That'll show them they were bad to her. Then they'll see it's her fault she turned out to be a bad girl. Daughters of the rich sometimes are just bored and want to do something totally radical. The poor little rich girls play goy pole too. Be careful. Irate, wealthy parents like to prove themselves blameless by threatening legal action or using their connections to punish you for seducing our sweet, innocent baby girl. Her name was, I can remember her last name, Hutton. I don't remember. She lived in the richest part of town here in Whittier and worked at Marie Callender's when I was dating the bartender there, Barbara Kristen, the girl at the front of the book. And she had the greatest parties. Her parents would go away and they had this big ass house with a swimming pool up in the hills. And everybody that she liked at the bar was invited. And she started flirting with me. And a couple of girls told me, watch out for her. She's trying to piss off her mom and dad with going out with an older man. I didn't believe them. So he said, I'll just kind of hang back here because the bartender, Barbara's great. I'm not going to fuck that up. But this girl had a great bod, great face, good dancer, funny, smart, very desirable on all levels. And sure enough, she got the local pharmacist in trouble. He was married and got him fired from his drugstore. Parents had a big stink. And there is some justice. Epilogue to the story is Miss Hutton got knocked up by her high school boyfriend. And she was a born-again Christian, so she kept the baby. She went from a 10 to a 3 in less than 2 years. There is some justice once in a while. Foolish assumptions. I mentioned this, but now we'll get right to where I wrote it down. As a married man, I was able to easily meet and date young women. After a few conversations and lunch, she realized I only wanted to nail her to the mattress, then to the wall at the nearest motel. After 3 or 4 of these affairs, I realized it was not necessary to beat around the bush, so to pun. I only had to be discreet and make it tactfully clear. She would simply choose to participate in some serious fucking or diplomatically pass. She knew from my approach that if she played chase me, catch me, fuck me, she would lose the fuck me. Courtship was simpler and faster. No confusion about the long-term possibilities. No confusion about the long-term possibilities. That's right. There isn't any. We're fucking. My foolish assumption after getting divorced, I would meet and have real dates with young women. Wrong. Married men are toys. Nothing to take seriously. Now that I'm single, she's confused about my purpose and goal. He's kind of a potential husband, but he's so old. Everything's muddled. She wants to get married someday, but she's been used and lied to by every guy over 26 she's been out with. No matter what I say or do, she thinks I'm primarily interested in her slit. I'm something she's not encountered before. I don't want to just nail her. I want to have a caring, romantic, fun-filled affair for as long as we enjoy each other. She knows that on some level from my attitude and approach, and sometimes she asks me directly, gosh, an affair, really? You know, like, I don't know, geez, what about my boyfriend? To answer that question and to really understand her, you have to be clear on why she almost always has a boyfriend. But first you need to know which young women. Otherwise you'll waste all of your good time pursuing the wrong one.